Chris Statlander just accomplished something that no woman in AEW has done. So tonight during the Fatal 4-Way match, when it looked like as if Jamie Hayter was about to win after getting the Haterade off on Toni Storm, would then get hit with a curb stomp by Tekla. Then it looked like Tekla was going to win as she had Toni Storm in a submission, but Jamie Hayter would get Tekla out of the submission, and then she would get hit with a goddamn spear by Tekla, which would then leave Toni Storm and Chris Statlander 1v1 in the ring, and Toni Storm would get pinned, which means that not only is Chris Statlander the new AEW Women's World Champion, she is also the first woman in AEW history to hold the AEW Women's World title and hold the AEW TBS title. And this is a big moment for AEW because a lot of people believe that it was going to be Mercedes Moné, myself included, to be the first woman to hold the TBS title and to hold the AEW Women's World title, or heck, that it might have been someone like Toni Storm to do this. And sure, while it would have been pretty cool to see one of these two women get it, seeing as how they are big time stars and very intricate parts of AEW, to see Tony Khan go in a different direction and pick somebody that's a bit more of the underdog to do this says a lot about AEW and what Tony Khan's approach is to his divisions. It basically shows a lot of women wrestlers around the world that you don't have to be the big time superstar to get the big time accomplishments, to get the monumental moments in AEW. And it really does allow a lot of women wrestlers to potentially look at AEW and be like, maybe I do want to go here. Maybe my name isn't as big as Mercedes Moné's or Toni Storm's, but Chris Statlander's wasn't either, and look what she just accomplished. Then you got to look at it from the other side of things as well and say, we all thought once again that it was going to be Mercedes Moné or Athena to dethrone Toni Storm, but instead it was the last option that a lot of us thought. Heck, Chris Statlander said it herself. She hasn't had a world title shot in almost 4 years on a pay-per-view. So this woman who's just been working her butt off over these past 4 years to get back to the world title scene, she was the one to dethrone Toni Storm, not Mercedes Moné, not Athena, not Jamie Hayter, who had the big time story there with Toni Storm. It was Chris Statlander, which once again shows a lot of incoming talent. You don't have to be the biggest name in the company to be holding the biggest belts. All you got to do is have hard work, and that's it. And obviously this is very different from the approach that Tony Khan has taken in the past, where a lot of the times it was the big name wrestlers that were getting most of the titles. Toni Storm has 4 of them. You had CM Punk come in and get 2 of them. Kenny Omega is the first person to hold all the men's titles. You have Jon Moxley, who's had 4 of them. A lot of big names, big names, big names. But now it's looking like we might have a bit of a shift in a sense. So shout out to Chris Statlander for being the first ever woman to hold the AEW TBS title and the AEW Women's World title as well. I think she's an absolutely awesome wrestler. I already said I think there's a storyline there with her and the Death Riders. I could see her end up even joining the Death Riders, which could eventually lead to Willow Nightingale getting the world title off of her. Potentially even another big time face like a Jamie Hayter gets the world title off of her. Maybe a new on the rise baby face gets the world title off of her. I'm interested to see where this does go. But again, shout out to Chris Statlander. Absolutely awesome wrestler. My God, is that one hell of a